Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJ and TV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJ and TV Insiders. Hi, this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Thank you for joining us tonight out on Facebook and out there on YouTube. For tonight's show, we've got...
Welcome to another installment of Ron Ruth Presents. My guest has a lot of experience with success. In his football career, he won championships at the collegiate and professional level, winning a Big Ten championship at Purdue University and a Super Bowl championship with his hometown Pittsburgh Steelers. He now owns a business called Basic Instructions based on the requisites that helped him reach the highest levels of success in professional football. As a speaker and coach, he shows his audiences and clients that Super Bowl levels of success are simple if you know and practice the 4 basic instructions to get there, something you'll learn more about in just a few minutes. As a mindset and emotions coach, he helps business professionals and entrepreneurs reach their full potential in their career and everyday life. Please welcome my guest and my new friend, Super Bowl champion and master practitioner of NLP, also known as Neuro-Linguistic Communication, Mr. Chukky Okobi. So hi, Chukky. How are you? It's so great to have you with me this morning.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, Ron.
I know, and it's been great getting to know you. I've had the pleasure of sitting down and having a couple of conversations with you. You're a fascinating individual, and I've always enjoyed those conversations. But for my audience, why don't we just take a few moments and let's just start with talking about who is Chukky Okobi?
Me, I'm just my mother's son, man. I'm nobody special, but I appreciate all the compliments you've bestowed upon me this morning. I'm a 8-year veteran of the National Football League, and I played most of my career for my hometown Pittsburgh Steelers, winning a Super Bowl with them in 2005. And what I do now, I use my experience of reaching those high levels of success and making a dream come true, if you want to call it that, being able to manifest my perfect professional experience. And what I try to do is help people understand how simple it can be for them to do the same things, to create the type of success that they envision for themselves professionally, and to be able to have a life by their own design, being able to gain a sense of control and being able to create the type of success in not only in business, but in your health and fitness and your relationships and whatnot, really helping you to understand the power of who you are and how to take control of life so that you're living life and life's not necessarily controlling you. And, that really all is a result of my experience, and that I was able to manifest an NFL career to play for the team I grew up idolizing and being able to do things my way. And so, that's really what I'm all about now. I don't know what else I could add to it other than my favorite color is blue. And
Ooh, I learned something today. See, I didn't even know that. I'm guessing I learned that your number was 56 because I see that behind you.
Yes, sir.
You played center, correct?
I did.
You did. Awesome. So, so the idea of Basic Instructions, your company that you have now, came from this background of playing in the NFL, but also from, I understand that you played in the Big Ten as well for Purdue. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so all of this is a culmination, the Basic Instructions. Where did the concept of Basic Instructions come from? I guess that's where I want to go.
Basic Instructions really came from me trying to explain how I was able to accomplish what I accomplished as an athlete. You know, whenever you ask people who are really good at what they do, if you ask somebody like Michael Jordan how he does what he does, what I found is that people have a really difficult time explaining it. The
Right.
people that are best at what they do, a lot of times can't explain how they were able to do it. And so, you know, people would ask me, like, oh, you got drafted into the NFL? I'm like, yeah, I did. So you played 8 years. That's like almost 3 times longer than most people play. I was like, yeah, I did that. And you won the Super Bowl. Wow, that must have been really difficult. It must have been hard to do. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't really think it was that hard. So it really got me thinking as to, okay, how did I do it? And going through my own personal history through sports, you know, it really didn't start with football when I was really, really young. But just going through my personal history in sports, I was able to pinpoint 4 things that I did that I witnessed other people, you know, kind of overlook in their process. And, you know, with the number of people I played with in high school and college and even in the pros who didn't have the type of success that they were looking for, I was able to pinpoint these 4 basic requisites, what I call the basic instructions, that I was able to apply in my journey to help me to reach the success that I want to reach. And, you know, what I found is that those 4 basic instructions aren't necessarily sports related. It's more about what you think and what you believe about where you're at and what it is you're trying to do. And so even basic instructions was short for an acronym that I came up with. And that full acronym is basic instructions before leaving Earth. And if you take the first letter out of each word, it spells Bible. And even though I don't preach religion, what I do help people understand is the role that what they believe in their faith play in their life experience. And I think that's a really very similar concept, a similar message that the good book's trying to teach people. So, you know, it's about applying these 4 basic instructions to make sure that, you know, what you believe, what you're thinking, and your faith is pointed in the right direction and is acting in the way that it's supposed to, so that you can manifest what it is that you want.
And I love one of your mantra, perhaps, is that you help people realize that success is simple. That you break it down into in such a way that it takes away this complexity of, oh my gosh, how am I going to get there, and what path do I take? I heard you tell a story once about how a great analogy of this as it relates to, of course, we're here in the Midwest, of how it relates to the Wizard of Oz. Could you recount that?
Yeah. And, you know, it really is a lot like the Wizard of Oz. Now, pretty much everyone's seen it, although since I've moved here to Kansas in the last 13 months, I have met people who haven't seen it, which is kind of strange to me.
It's strange to anybody that lives in the Midwest if you haven't seen it.
We're all weird in our own ways. So, you know, but Dorothy found herself in this crisis. And, you know, she's all of a sudden, everything's in color. All these men are really, really short. She thinks she's having this dream again. And this lady's got this green skin and she's really angry. I don't know what her deal is. You know what? I just want to go home. She just really desired in this moment. The only thing she wanted in her life at this moment is to go home. So she starts asking everybody, you know, what should I do? What should I do? I really want this one thing. What should I do? And everyone says, well, go see the wizard. Go see the wizard. Go see somebody else who's going to fix your problem. At this point, she doesn't believe she has any other options, so she starts to follow the yellow brick road. And along the way, she meets the three characters. First one doesn't think he's smart enough. The next one doesn't think he's tough enough, doesn't have the heart. And the lion's really just a pussycat who doesn't believe he's got the courage. And so together, they go down the yellow brick road and run into all kinds of craziness, all kinds of obstacles, and overcome each and every obstacle to get to the assumed solution, the wizard, only to find out not only can the wizard not help Dorothy, but he's got problems of his own. And so in this moment, she's thinking to herself, I guess I can't have what I want. What I truly desire is just not in the cards for me. But one of the things we first saw when this crisis started as the viewers watching the movie is what we know is she had those shoes the entire time. She had the power that was in those shoes this entire time, but it wasn't until someone gave her the basic instructions of how to use it that she realized how simple it was to get what she truly desired in life, which was to go home in that moment. And those three characters, we remember from watching the movie that the whole thing was a dream. They weren't real. That's how she felt. She felt she wasn't smart enough. She felt she wasn't tough enough. She felt she didn't have the courage, only to find out that she did have all of those things. And the most interesting thing about it is how simple it was to get what she wanted once she got the basic instructions. But if somebody didn't give her the basic instructions, where would she have come up with that solution?
Yeah.
So that's what I do, is I help people learn how to click 3 times. I help people to understand through the 4 basic instructions. So I guess it's click 4 times, but through the 4 basic instructions, that to get what you truly want is simple. Sometimes you just need somebody to point you in that right direction.
And what I really like about the way you tell that story is that when I was a kid growing up, I used to watch The Wizard of Oz from behind my dad's chair because it scared me that bad. But you make it sound much, much easier. If I'd known then what I know now, would have been much easier to actually sit down and watch it with the family.
Right.
So let's dive into to these 4 basic instructions of high level achievement. So you say these are ideas you came up with through playing sports and just in living life, these 4 different steps. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep. And it's a big part of, in reflection, as to the steps that I took to reach the levels of success I desired for myself as an athlete.
Right.
Not breaking it down to just, what I did at the gym and how often I worked out, but really getting down to the basics of what it is that I did. And to me, these are the four basic instructions of empowerment to create positive change and to have high level success. And I know even in different high level achievers that I've studied and worked with, I've found that these all apply.
And the first one is let go of the past.
Let go of the past. This is crucial. And that one's kind of twofold. And first is letting go of the past in terms of history. Right. And a lot of times people want to achieve things, and you might think to yourself, well, nobody's ever done it before. You got to let that go as a belief that simply because nobody's ever done it before, that it can't be done. Mm-hmm. Because nobody ever stepped on the moon at one point. You look at Jackie Robinson. At one point, no person of color had ever played Major League Baseball. There's so many things that have been done in human history that had never been done before until somebody did it. And so the whole idea that the past tells me what's possible today is something that's a belief that you got to let go of. The second part of it is the emotional aspect, emotionally letting go of the past. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times things that happen in the past that create some sort of emotional response, emotional charge, and we tend to hold on to those emotions. And that can be really detrimental in terms of you getting to where you want to go, because they create what I call a filter. So let's say, for example, you had some sort of entrepreneurial venture in the past with a business partner, and maybe you lost a bunch of money, or you had a falling out with that partner, and there were some trust issues. Maybe they did something that you didn't appreciate, and now you have this idea to create a new business venture, and because of all those experiences from the past, you might feel an elevated level of fear. Like, I don't want to lose this money. I don't know if I could trust, this person I'm going into business with. And it creates a filter. So now you're looking at this new opportunity through that fear. And so instead of setting the bar, setting your standards here where you can achieve it, that fear is going to make you set the bar down here. And it's going to make it very difficult for you to ever get to that level if you're continuing to look through that fear. If you are feeling anger as a result of, maybe that fallout with the partner, and you go into a new business partnership, still holding on to that anger, it's going to create an anger filter where you're going to interpret so many things that this new partner does as evidence that you can't trust them, And the whole situation that happened last time is going to materialize again simply because you didn't let go of the past. And so that's really the biggest thing about basic instruction. Number one is making sure that you understand that just because something's never happened before doesn't mean it can't happen. And understanding that just because you may have experienced some negative results in the past,
Right.
they have nothing to do with the present. And so long as you let it go, you have the opportunities to create a new future instead of repeating those patterns again.
And you got to wonder how much is that fear of or letting go of the past, or just letting go of fear, how much that holds some entrepreneurs back from realizing their full potential. Just not, when they go in, they say, well, I want to start. Actually, even when I started my business, I started out at this level, thinking, I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to be comfortable, because I had no idea what was up here. And I actually, today I can say I was afraid of what was going to be up here. So I kind of hung out down in this area until people kind of forced me up. And then I started to realize, there's not so much to be afraid of after all.
Mm-hmm. So what you explained is you've experienced it. You've experienced that filter.
Right.
And when you start to look through the filter of fear, it can make it feel difficult to stretch yourself, to get out of that comfort zone.
Right.
Even though at a much deeper level, you do want that higher level success, but the fear is going to keep you here. And being able to let go of those things emotionally, which is a lot of what I work on with entrepreneurs and business professionals, and I've worked with athletes too, is letting go of that fear so that you can really understand what it is you truly want to accomplish and be able to see clearly how you're going to get there, instead of letting that fear make you come up with excuses why you should stay where you are.
Yeah, status quo is always much more comfortable than taking chances for some people. So the second basic instruction is on knowing your destination.
Yep. You have to know your specific desired outcome here. And, it's important to go through basic instruction number one before you do this. And the best example I always like to use is sports. And thinking about basketball, for example, if a player believes they're getting fouled and the ref's not calling it, they can start to feel frustrated and angry at the situation. And so at some point in the game, they decide to take action and say something to the referee that maybe they wouldn't have said if they weren't feeling so angry, and they end up getting a technical foul. Or if you look at baseball and a player gets hit by a pitch, and I totally can understand why they may feel angry in that situation, because baseball's hurt. But if they decide to take action in this state, then make the decision as to what they want, and they're feeling that anger, then they rush the mound, attack the pitcher, you're going to get penalized. The reason you have to let go of the past first is so that you can think clearly before you make a decision as to what it is important in this moment. Is letting off steam to the referee what's important? Is getting revenge on this pitcher, is that what's important? Is that truly what you want to do? Right. Once you let go of the past, you're able to think clearly as to what it is that what am I trying to accomplish here? And I always look at it a lot like the airports. We've all been on planes. We've all been to the airport. And, one thing I'll always ask people is, have you ever been to the airport and gotten on a plane, get in line for take off down the runway, fly up into the clouds, into the sky, with the sole purpose of getting away from the airport? That makes no sense.
Yeah, you gotta have a destination. You gotta know where you're going.
You gotta have a destination, and so that's really what it comes down to. Is just think about it like planes at the airport.
Right.
You can't get anything, or you can't get your plan off the ground. You can't fly if you don't have a destination. The planes that don't have destinations stay on the ground until they have one.
Right.
In order to achieve something specific, you got to know exactly where you want to go. And once you have that idea of where you want to go, what you'll start to find is you'll recognize opportunities in your daily life to move you closer to it.
Right.
You don't know exactly what you want. How are you going to recognize an opportunity to get it? Really pretty simple.
Sounds That's why it's called Success is Simple.
Basic.
So the third step is taking action.
Yep. You got to take the actions that are going to lead you to that specific destination. And that's something that, coaching people and working with entrepreneurs and business professionals is a lot of times we have, we've let go of the past,
right?
Know exactly what we want, and we're thinking in a very positive way. And that's great. It's perfect. But, we have so many books in out there, like in movies like The Secret, where they talk about positive thinking and manifestation,
right,
which are all important aspects of it. But I can't just sit on my couch with my eyes closed like, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire. This is going to
that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's, you have to use the energy of who you are to move yourself in that direction. And, a lot of it comes down to learning new ways of doing things. If you want to create some sort of new positive future for yourself, you're going to have to take new positive actions. And so as a coach and as a speaker, I'm usually focusing on learning new habits and disciplines and understanding that you're going to have to do these things in order to create something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, think about it like if I had a bunch of Legos, like the kids play with, and I look at the box and it has a castle on it. Okay, great. So I open up the box and dump out all the pieces, and I'm just sitting there looking at it, wait for it to form into a castle. I have to do something. I have to build this thing. I'm going to have to take action in order to have exactly what that picture that I see. If I want to have it, it's going to take action on my part. And it's a simple, basic concept. However, a lot of times people find it challenging to stick to that basic principle that, if I want something done, if I want to have something, I'm going to have to take action in order to make it happen.
Well, it reminds me of people I see at conferences and sitting in the audience as a speaker, and you see them writing notes and they're like, I got all this great information and then I can't wait to get back to my office. And they start reviewing those notes and they realize, oh my goodness, this is going to take some effort on my part. I'm actually going to have to do something. In that moment, they're not realizing that what they're being presented took time to learn in order to present it to them. So in return, there's going to have to be some sort of investment to follow through on the information that they receive. And that's where I go back to, the status quo always seems far more appealing than effort. But the actual the reward of taking that action is far greater than doing nothing at all.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've sat in the audience when you spoke, so, I can understand why people would feel that way, would be excited, like, okay, I've got this new information
right,
that's help get me to where I want to go. But what happens when you're listening to the speaker is it's like putting on a new prescription glasses. Like all of a sudden seeing clear, like this is great. I could see now how I can have, be, do, and have what I want in my career, be, do, and have what I want in my business. I got it. And what happens is after they've taken all those notes with those new glasses on, is they go home and they take those off and put their old prescription back on. And so once you do that, then they start to see things the way they used to see it, and which is all in their comfort zone, not realizing that, I'm going to have to take these new actions to get that new picture that I saw. Actions is just so important. If you don't put it all together, then it's going to be very challenging, if it may be even impossible to get out of your comfort zone.
Just think how much you and I and other speakers could increase our own revenue if we could figure out a way to bottle the excitement that they feel at the moment that they're hearing this information, so they could actually take it home with them and open it up at that moment when they're reviewing their notes and revisit that particular moment in time, so they remember that feeling that they had right then of, wow, there's so much I could do here, rather than.
That's a multi-billion-dollar idea. If you can get that in a bottle, sell it at Walmart, that would be great.
I wonder if I can get a trademark for it. That'd be the hard part.
But that's where coaching really comes into play. When you're dealing with somebody who truly desires this positive change, they truly want to do something different, they want to have something more. That's where, what I do working with people one-on-one really comes into play is the person who taking the initiative to do something different, to create the results that they see in their mind, this new vision, what they got from you
Right.
with the glasses on, they really want to do it. And it can be, even though the basic instructions are basic conceptually, it can be challenging. And, seeking out expertise to help you make those transitions, to do something different, can really be the difference. It's understanding that you can use support to help you put these basic instructions into place.
And it's not just a matter of giving that encouragement. It's also kind of helping them walk through the process of everything. I think earlier you were talking about processes. Everything has a process. You have to take the first step in order to take the second step, third steps, just like it is with basic instructions. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, we get so overwhelmed with the information that we receive, we don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my goodness, this is like, as much as I want to do this, there's just so much here. Where does this begin? And also, how long is this going to take me to get through this? And the beauty of what you do as a coach is to actually, you don't learn how to play football by having a coach just throw you out there on the field and say, take a 3-point stance and now play.
Right.
There's all sorts of elements that go into that process.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it, and it hasn't changed since we were back in elementary school, since we were back in first grade. The process hasn't changed. I mean, we had teachers who took us through the process of learning ABC 1, 2, 3. When we were back at that age, it was kind of a complex concept,
right,
when it was first presented to you. But systematically, you have somebody guide you to help you understand exactly how to integrate this. And for some reason, when we get older, we become adults, we start to feel like we're supposed to know. You don't know what you don't know. And the only way to learn is to sometimes get somebody to explain to you exactly these steps, to show you how simple it can be, to give
right,
you the systems to learn and integrate the information. And, it's when we become adults and we start to put our egos to the side and understand that, there's things that I don't understand. Even if I'm, 50 years old, you can't possibly know everything. And if I want to do something new, learn something new, it's the same process, whether I'm 50 or I'm 5 years old. It's the same process.
It's almost cliche, but even for someone at a certain age that I am, there's still a lot of things I don't know what I don't know. I mean, every day is a learning experience, and
That's true. It's like Henry Ford said. He said, whether, whenever you stop learning, whether you're 10 or you're 80, you're old.
That's true. That's true. So the fourth step of this is focus.
Mm-hmm. The biggest thing with focus is, when we decide we want something, we've let go of the past.
Right.
We're good. We're congruent emotionally. We're seeing things clearly. We know exactly what we want. We got the steps. We know the actions that we need to take, and we're prepared to take those actions. You have to ask yourself, am I able to focus until? And when I say until, it's until that desired result is achieved, whatever that might be. Depending on what it is, it might take 6 weeks, it might take 6 years, it might take your entire lifetime, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And, the biggest example of this is when you think about people who are looking to improve their health and fitness, maybe lose a certain amount of weight. And let's say they want to lose 30 pounds and they've decided that they're going to do this, and they got the brand new shoes, and they got all this gear, and they got the gym membership and the trainer, and they're really serious about doing this. And so the first week, they go to the gym 5 days. They do the work, they're busting it out, they're getting it done. And so the weekend comes, and then Monday comes back around, and they're still kind of sore because this whole thing is new, and they're really tired. So they don't go back to the gym until Wednesday. And they go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the weekend comes. And then Monday comes, and they got to go to their kids' school, or they have to catch up on something. And so they don't go to the gym maybe they don't go that week at all. And then they go back the next week and then try to go 5 days, but then they're feeling, and all of a sudden, it's like, are you focused? Are you focused? Are you being consistent with what it is you're trying to accomplish here? Do you have the right frame of mind here to understand that each and every little thing you do each and every day is going to add up to what it is you want to accomplish at the end? Is being able to stay focused from the beginning. Once you've made that decision, once you've decided to take the action, can you stay focused until you achieve your results? And that's a big thing, because like for me, I decided at age 7 I wanted to be a professional athlete. It wasn't football at first. I was really, really big baseball fan growing up. But it wasn't until I was 22 years old that I became a professional athlete. Now, during that time, I didn't have the basic instructions structure. I was a kid.
Right.
However, I do, in reflection, I do realize that I was focused for those 15 years on what it is I was trying to accomplish. And it took that long. So when you think about people who are building a company who maybe want to have a $1 million company, a $1 billion company, that may take you 20, 30 years to do. Can you stay focused for those 20, 30 years? If you were looking to lose 30 pounds in 6 months, can you stay focused for the entire 6 months? And it's a very simple concept. However, basic instruction number 4, I found has been the most challenging for people to stick with.
Well, that's why gym memberships always get a lot of sales right after the holidays, is because everybody's like, okay, I'm going to do this thing now, and then other priorities take over, or it doesn't become. I think one time you said to me, one reason people don't do anything do something is because it's not a priority to them, and it becomes, that's what happens with gym memberships. It's no longer a priority. Once the cookies have been put away, no longer a priority.
Yeah.
But it's also, I remember when I started my business, and I'm sure it's this way for a lot of entrepreneurs, I office at home, you office at home.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a certain discipline just to go to work every day.
Absolutely.
Because if it's in your house, it's too easy to get distracted with, I got to, maybe you want to clean house, or got to do laundry, or like today, I need to mow the yard, whatever the case may be. But you have to make yourself actually go to work. It's not like actually having to leave the house and go to an office where somebody else makes sure you're doing your work. You're on your own to make that happen.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that it goes back to the comfort zone. And
Right.
if you've been an employee throughout your working life, and you've been used to having somebody direct you as to what to do, when to do it, how to do it, as an entrepreneur, you have to become that person for yourself.
Right.
That's a new way of doing things. That's outside the comfort zone. So all of a sudden, you're having to form new habits, new disciplines, basic instruction number 3. And sometimes that can feel difficult because it's outside the comfort zone. That's where working with somebody such as myself, working with somebody to help you understand that it's a process of learning, just like learning how to tie your shoes, just like learning how to brush your teeth. And when you first learn these things, they were complex tasks, but eventually they become automatic, they become simple. And,
Right.
Being able to become an entrepreneur, going from an employee to working for yourself, it is the same 4 basic instructions: letting go of the way you used to do things, letting go of the past.
Right.
Deciding what you want to be. I want to be self-employed. I want to be a successful entrepreneur. I want to have wealth and abundance and freedom. Basic instruction number 3, implementing new habits, new disciplines, making sure that you get up at a certain time, taking care of yourself in a certain way, handling the things that need to be handled, knowing that when you work for yourself, if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. And being able to focus every single day until you reach that goal where you are self-sustaining business, you are a successful entrepreneur, however long that takes, whether it takes a year, 5 years, or 10 years. Same 4 basic instructions. And as an athlete, a lot of times people, want to hear about the Steelers days and the Super Bowl, and it was the same process. It was the same process. I went to a prep school in New York, a very strong academic school, Trinity Pauling in Dutchess County, New York, about an hour north of New York City. And, nobody had ever played in the NFL coming out of that school. And that was one thing that I heard a lot. as a teenager in high school. It's like, maybe you should think about playing Division III. And to me, it was just like, well, just because nobody's ever done it doesn't mean it can't be done. And, nobody from Trinity Pawling had ever gone to the NFL. But when I got to Purdue, which was the only scholarship offer I had, which was totally fine with me because I could only play for one school anyway. And, getting to the NFL was something that I decided when I was 17 years old when I got there that was something that was going to happen. And it didn't matter if nobody who came from the athletic background that I had ever done it. I knew it had to be done. And there was a lot of, habits and disciplines that were instilled in me by excellent coaches I had in college. But then there were other ones that I had to pick up on my own and find ways to gain a competitive advantage, and which I did. And stayed focused through all those years, which eventually got me drafted to my favorite team growing up, the Steelers. And it's the same 4 basic instructions to create that success in sports as it is in business.
So I told you this last time we had coffee together. We talked about one of the very first analogies you used for me or told me about was that I think it has to do with football and being a center on football and as a player and not being able to see the entire field. Talk. I'll let you tell this story because I'll ruin it if I try to summarize it. Tell this analogy, if you would, please.
So you're talking about the press box.
Yes.
Press box. Okay. So, I play center, and if I'm in Arrowhead Stadium, loudest stadium on the planet,
right?
I walk up to the line of scrimmage. I'm over the football. I can see there's D linemen in front of me. I can see them.
Right.
Odd front, there's one guy, or it's even front, there's 2 guys. I can see them because they're right here in front of me. Behind them, I can see the middle linebacker. He might be over here a little bit or over here a little bit, but he's in this general vicinity. So I can see him because he's right in front of me. And behind him, I can see the 2 safeties back there. Now, they think they're disguising something, moving around, but I see them. I see what they're doing because they're right here in my field of vision. There's a bunch of things I can't see, though. And now I know there's a corner out there. And I know because I know we have a receiver out there, but I can't see either one of them. But I know they're there. I don't know if the backs are lined up properly. I don't know. We practice this, but I don't know if, Ben Roethlisberger has them lined up. I don't know. And I can't tell you how many times I've run a play, done my job perfectly, yet it didn't work.
Right.
Because there's a bunch of things when I'm on the line of scrimmage that are happening that are not inside my awareness, but they affect me. There's only one place in the stadium where I can see everything that's going on, and that's in the press box. Now, I can't be in both places at one time. I can't be on the line of scrimmage, in the game, and in the press box. That's why we have a coach up there. That's why we have a camera up there, so that we can go back to that tape, reflect on what exactly happened. Why didn't I achieve what I wanted to achieve? Make corrections and do better the next time. And that's really the Pressbox Theory. And it's understanding that in life, you're on the line of scrimmage. There's usually a number of different things that are happening that are outside of your awareness that are affecting your success or lack thereof.
Right.
In life, we have to go to that press box to be able to get a real clear understanding of what's taking place. Why am I having challenges in achieving my goals and achieving the success I want? And taking that, instead of saying that, I failed and that's why I didn't get what I want, is just looking at that tape as feedback so that I can make corrections, make another attempt at getting exactly what I want.
And I think it's a great argument isn't really the word, but it's a great argument, for lack of better words, for why it's so important to have a coach, a consultant, somebody to help you through some of these situations, because we don't always see what's happening. I love that analogy of being able to be in the press box and actually see everything that's going on. And actually, I think you were the first person that really made that so clear to me when you first told me that story. And I told you, I said, I love that. Of all the conversations we've had, this is a story that stands out with me every single day.
A lot of times we're all out there trying to create positive changes in our lives and our careers. And you can feel mentally stuck or experience some sort of emotional block that may be preventing you from doing or having what it is that you want most. And you start to accept that, maybe I can't have what I want in life. Maybe it's just not in the cards for me. Maybe I should be grateful for what I have, which you should. However, it's important to understand that it is a lot like the Wizard of Oz. And maybe the solution might be as simple as clicking 3 times. I wouldn't say that clicking 3 times is a solution, because unless you have those ruby slippers, because I don't have a pair of ruby slippers. However, the solution might be as simple as the 4 basic instructions, and maybe at one of those levels, where maybe you might be holding on to something emotional from the past. Maybe you need to be more clear on exactly what it is that you want, what's important to you, and what you want to create in your life. And maybe there's some new habits, new disciplines, new ways of behaving and going about achieving your goals. And maybe you just need a coach, somebody to help you stay focused until you're able to achieve that. It can be very simple. It's going to take some effort, some energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be work.
I understand. Chukky, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do it?
Basicinstructions.com is my website, and I'm very active in social media, especially LinkedIn and Facebook. You can look me up, CHUKKY, 2 Ks and Y. And that's probably the best way to reach me.
And I know you've got lots of videos, so for those of you watching, if you want to know more about Chukky, go to his Facebook page, because there's tons of videos. You've done a number of podcasts as well, and there's great perspective in all of those. So make sure you do that as well. So for my audience, thank you so much. It was great to have you watch, and I will see you next time.